Good health to everyone. I am Karen V. Rendeza from Bulacan State University, Malolos City, Bulacan, Philippines. Allow me to highlight how brave warriors we are in combating COVID-19 in our own ways, big or small. Let me share with you some points about resilience with emphasis on academic resilience amid this COVID-19 pandemic crisis that we have been going through for many months already. But before that, kindly look at this slide and read. What message do you understand with this? All the message of such picture is, time is gold, il tiempo is oro. Time element in research is very vital, as we all have 24 hours a day. Research has to be time-bounded, as well as depending on how much time we need in order to achieve our research objectives. How about this one? How do you read this? It says, no man is an island. This only means that as humans, our lives are interconnected with one another. So let us move as one. Teamwork matters. Lastly, this image, how do you read this? Can you? Well, I also do not know. This is where the concept of research comes in. We do research because we do not know yet and we want to know, like this COVID-19 phenomenon. At this juncture, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to Eurasia Research for this opportunity given to me, as well as to Global Research and Development Services for the opportunities to venture and learn further about research and publication. Truly, you have opened avenues for us. This pandemic has done a lot of changes in our lives. Disruptions and uncertainties seem to be countless, which caused anxiety, even depression to some. Yet, on the other side of the coin, this health crisis has brought many of us to the discovery of how resilient we are at this point of our journey. Amid this pandemic, while taking care of our physical health, we are still able to do some virtual conferences like this. Learning on our part continues amid difficulties in many aspects in the cyberspace or even in our physical world. Unexpectedly, the face-to-face transactions that we have been used to do for so long a time has stopped because of this pandemic. The migration of physical schools to cyberspace has created among us instant eagerness to use computers and other gadgets to be able to perform our duties. We right away made visible this boundaryless career, including the work from home. Further, with economic crisis as a result of this health crisis, we have discovered how to survive each day with the scarcity of resources we have. Our experiences of community quarantine become instrumental in discovering the importance of family and the sense of community. Resilience is the core strength we use to lift the load of life, according to Amit Sood of the Global Center for Resiliency and Well-Being. Resilience is what gives us the emotional strength to cope with trauma, adversity, and hardship. Resilient as we are, we utilize our resources, strengths, and skills to overcome challenges and work through our setbacks. With this COVID-19 pandemic, we are able to prove to ourselves that indeed we are resilient physically, psychologically, and emotionally, thereby also exhibiting community and academic resilience. Physical resilience refers to the body's ability to adapt to challenges, maintain stamina and strength, and recover quickly and efficiently. It is our ability to function and recover when faced with illness, accidents, or other physical demands. The Journal of Gerontology research published in 2016 showed that physical resilience plays an important role in healthy aging as people encounter medical issues and physical stressors. Psychological resilience, on the other hand, is our ability to mentally withstand or adapt to uncertainty, challenges, and adversity. It is sometimes referred to as mental fortitude. People who exhibit psychological resilience develop coping strategies and capabilities that enable them to remain calm and focused during a crisis and move on without long-term negative consequences. Emotional resilient people understand what they are feeling and why. This is what we need to do. Tap into realistic optimism even when dealing with a crisis, and be proactive in using both internal and external resources to be able to manage stressors as well as our emotions in a healthy, positive way. Moreover, community resilience is the ability of groups of people to respond to and recover from adverse situations such as natural disasters, acts of violence, economic hardship, and other challenges like this pandemic to their community as we see in any part of the world. And to tackle it all, academic resilience is a call to us academicians and to those who love to learn and share wisdom with others. Academic resilience is our ability to effectively deal with difficulties, stress, or pressure in the academic setting. Determination and resilience, particularly through times of adversity, to reach a desired outcome can be the hallmark of success. With this comes a beautiful word, grit, which refers to perseverance and passion for long-term goals as defined by Duckworth et al. 2007. Having opted to pursue schooling in this time of pandemic is not an easy decision, especially to those who are facing the issue of digital divide and to those who are much challenged about the migration of the traditional face-to-face classroom instruction to the digital classrooms. The use of technology in the teaching-learning process in this new normal is quite a challenge both to the education frontliners and to the learners. Yet, this time, we found ourselves bravely fighting in this battle because we believe that schooling amid this pandemic will help us earn more number of units for the degree we are pursuing, thus making education as a positive diversion also to combat our fears and worries about the future. In the Duckworth et al. 2007 study, the researchers wanted to understand why some college students are more successful than the others. They found that grit increases with age and students with a higher grit score have lower SAT scores but higher GPAs. Resilience is one component of grit that explains some of these phenomena, as well as overcoming adversity in the face of challenges. Being able to pick up ourselves from a failure and keep moving forward exemplifies the definition of grit, in that a student who may have a lot going on outside of school will work harder in their courses to understand material receiving a passing grade na class. Further, the study of DWEC 2016 about growth mindset revealed that the view of a person adopts for himself or herself profoundly affects the way he or she leads his or her life. It can determine whether one becomes the person he or she wants to be, and whether he or she has accomplished the things he or she values in life. This study insinuates the importance of a growth mindset. That is, we just have to believe that we can change innate qualities within ourselves, whether that is our personality, intelligence, artistic, or athletic ability. Failure can help us drive towards our next success because we learn and grow from mistakes. The experience of falling aids us in coming up with creative solutions to move forward and taking action to confront the problems rather than believing we cannot rise up from it. Online learning is challenging for teachers and students. This can even further multiplied by students who may not have a laptop or consistent internet at home. Comments like, "I just can't teach myself this material," or "I am not motivated to do that homework," are often heard anywhere these days. Part of building resilience and growing our mindset can be breaking down our goals into simpler tasks. Having smaller goals will help us not to feel overwhelmed by the bigger picture. This pandemic truly necessitates inner strength from each one of us to be able to cope with the tremendous impact of this health crisis on the economy of nations, which include the closures of many schools around the globe. The United Nations Educational and Scientific Cultural Organization is tracking the impact of the pandemic on education. An estimated 87% or 1.5 billion of the learners in the world have been affected by school closures as of March 30, 2020. How much more by this time? The bulk of these students are enrolled in primary and secondary schools, but there are also millions of students affected at the pre-primary and tertiary education levels. More than 180 countries have shut school doors nationwide, while others have implemented localized school closures. Over the last 20 years, education in emergencies have coalesced as a field of research and practice led by practitioners and academics working in humanitarian aid and global development. Education in emergencies refers broadly to ensuring people affected by emergencies and crises, no matter the type or source of the crisis, have access to safe, relevant, and quality education. This includes focusing on the cycle of prevention of and preparedness for emergencies, as well as response to and recovery from emergencies. Central to this field is a set of global standards that were developed in 2004 by the Interagency Network for Education in Emergencies. These INEE minimum standards were developed based on a combination of practitioner know-how and academic evidence, and are frequently used to respond to crises in low and middle-income countries, often characterized by displaced populations and destroyed infrastructure. While everybody in the executive and legislative body of every nation takes necessary actions on how to coexist, if not beating the COVID-19 pandemic, and strategizing on how to boost the country's economy, personal efforts from the citizens are essential as well in this battle. I believe the education frontliners are doing their part. Despite difficulties, the basic education teachers in the Philippines have learned to embrace the education in the new normal. Academic resilience from many studies conducted was focused mostly on students. In this study, the focus is on the education frontliners, both the neophytes and the seasoned professional teachers. In talking about academic resilience, because the teachers are learners as well, especially during this time that education relies so much on the use of technology, which the seasoned teachers are not used to. At this point, let me share with you my study on teachers' academic resilience amid the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, which investigated the resiliency experiences and practices of the education frontliners or the teachers during this COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Data were gathered through online survey with 236 basic education teachers serving the public schools as actual respondents, mostly coming from Central Luzon, Philippines, of which 96.2% are licensed professional teachers, 63.9% are pursuing their graduate studies. The respondents come from the age ranging from 20 to 60 years old. 90.3% of them are females. 66.9% of the respondents are married, having 1 to 4 children. They have been in the teaching profession for 1 to 32 long years. The profile of the respondents is very significant as to how they are able to strike the balance between work, personal life with their family life, being in the work from home setup. For the significant findings about the respondents is school-related home activities include attending webinars for self and professional development, researching online tools for students to use, creating a plan for education in the new normal, gathering possible teaching materials for the new normal, and practicing teaching online. Seeing how grave the limitations were in the educational sector, various institutions made an early call by immediately motivating educators to turn to remote learning technologies. Local publishing houses organized Facebook Live webinars, which conveniently equipped teachers with relevant skills that formed their confidence in facing the crisis. Several speakers from all over the world also paved their way in equipping the teachers and administrators with using engaging technology-mediated instructions as an alternative to the customary face-to-face based education. And then suddenly, we realized that knowledge sharing is also possible around the world without spending much amount of money, like going somewhere just to attend an expensive seminar. Guided training programs via Zoom were also deployed for free in order to ensure that teachers will be given undivided attention if ever they encountered a technical difficulty. Amazingly, the spirit of bayanihan or teamwork, or a sense of community naturally sprouted during the months-long community quarantine, with Good Samaritans sharing their resources to the less fortunate ones. Who would have thought that the current crisis would unveil the potential of mobile applications, video conference software, and web-based solutions in teaching? One significant realization is that educators are willing to allot time to attend to these online sessions, and it has become a clear manifestation of their grit to transform their practices and mindset towards rich and flexible learning. About the challenges in doing work from home, the teachers encountered difficulty to balance responsibilities as a professional teacher and a parent, spouse, and sibling at home. Lack of material resources like computers and slow internet connectivity. Work and personal life mix up. Home turned into an office or a classroom. Difficulty in coping with the new teaching learning modalities and the new normal. And information overload. Amidst all this, so how are the teachers' practices on self-care during the community quarantine? They do have prayer time with family members, stay connected online with colleagues, friends, and relatives, watch and read news to become updated about the COVID-19, engage in physical activities like exercise, cleaning, and gardening, train children in doing household chores to get help at the same time, and do altruistic activities like food, cooking, and packing for the frontliners to share. Clearly, education frontliners around the world in this time of COVID-19 pandemic have contributed much in our efforts to fight for life, remain mentally sound, and economically productive. With each one of us here also doing our part, fellow researchers, I am confident that we will triumphantly overcome this global crisis. Thank you for being here in Eurasia International Research Conference, where we can collaborate and co-create. Take care and keep safe always.